r/AskReddit. What's the most badass thing you've accidentally said in the heat of the moment? At work at a company meeting, someone was presenting something cool they volunteered to work on and finished. They then explained things they thought they could do better in a self-deprecating way, and a bunch of other people started railing into his work with petty criticism. It was definitely good work, though, and a thought just hit me, so I blurted it out. Sometimes done is the best feature. A bunch of people laughed and then the criticism stopped. People gave him kudos and we moved on. Not really badass, but I was surprised this thought somehow came out fully formed, like it was some phrase I've been saying for decades. I guess I was just realizing how many people don't finish anything they start. So done suddenly seemed like a pretty damn good feature. Give the man some credit for finishing the damn thing. This is actually really inspirational. I'm a perfectionist and often hate stuff I work on so much I abandon it. I'm going to try and internalize this message. I don't know about badass, but years ago I worked at a Hard Rock cafe, and we often had pre-shift server meetings outdoors on a patio. And my wild boss was droning on about us selling more overpriced plastic cups. I was staring off at the spinning globe on top of the building that says "Save the Planet" on it. I interrupted my boss by blurting out, if Hard Rock is trying to save the planet, why do we waste so much paper? Which was really directed at my managers, who had a hard-on for printing out stupid memos. They somehow didn't realize it was about them specifically, and passed the comment up the food chain, which ended up resulting in the entire company changing their payroll system to paperless, globally. As a reward I was given a pin shaped like a light bulb that said "Bright Idea" on it. Thanks, I guess. Save the company millions of dollars. Get a fricking badge. Frick corporate culture. Yeah, and they're a pretty company to work for. If you take all the annoying bullshit from every scene in Office Space, that's how they roll. One day I was chastised about wearing the bare minimum amount of pins, and told by 4 different managers that I filled out a form improperly. We had a overly dramatic neighbor who always claimed she was sick and dying. My mum came to see my kids in the middle of battling stage 4 lung cancer. The neighbor pulled her. "Hi Rita, so glad to see you. Did Jason tell you that I am dying?" My mum looked right at her, smiled and said, "Me too, dear. But not today." Never more proud of her. My cousin had cancer. He's doing okay now, but someone outside a shop was raising money and said kids with cancer. My auntie replied, "No thanks, I've already got one." It went down in family history. This one had a little setup, but I think it's funny enough to share. At a family vacation, my grandmother was giving me grief for not remembering her birthday. I've never been good with birthdays. After telling me it was the password to her iPhone, she wanted me to take a picture with it, which is why I needed the password. While she was distracted, I opened up the settings, changed her password to my birth date, and then set her phone down. 15 minutes later, she's trying to get into her phone and it's not working. Suspecting mischief, she grumpily asks me if I've changed the password to her phone in front of our entire family. I admit that I did. "Well, what is it?" she asked impatiently. "It's my birth date." She sat there in stunned silence for about 15 seconds, not being able to remember my birthday, before our family exploded laughing. Was a good time. Biggest no reverse card ever, Mayo. Draw 4 or admit you fricked up, huh? Proceed to draw 40, because I know myself and I probably deserve it. Imagine if she did remember though, lol. Yo, P took a risk here and it paid off. I was eating McDonald's with a few friends and I started choking. The only thing I managed to say in the whole ordeal was, "I'm Mac chokin'." Freaking gold. How'd he die? I dunno. He choked to death while his friends pissed themselves laughing so damn hard. Around the time I was 12, I was at a family party with my dad and aunts, uncles. My dad told me that one of my uncles owned several bars. My response? "Oh, it's good that he got into a business that he knows something about." I had no idea what I really was saying. I thought I was giving him a compliment. I did something similar around the same age. My parents were meeting up with my mom's siblings to go paint my grandparents' house. That included my Uncle Dave, who was known to everyone to be a pretty heavy drinker. My mum got a water jug we owned out of the cupboard, probably to put water in for everyone while working, and I looked at it and said, "Oh, is that for Dave's beer?" My friend's elderly aunt asked my dad what he wanted to drink. He said scotch. She asked him how he wanted it. He replied neat, straight out of the bottle. Her reply was, "You know what, Kenny? Sometimes I can't be bothered using a glass either." There's no way you're this much of an a-hole naturally. You must go home and practice. I said this to a co-worker who was throwing a fit and bullying a quieter co-worker because he was pissed off. He had a habit of just being a giant douche anytime things didn't go his way. This comment pissed him off so much he just stormed into his office and stayed there the rest of the day. Win for the rest of us. He was in there practicing some more. That's how you know you hit a nerve. When they can't even respond and it completely shuts them down. It's because what you said made them think. Or a realization about everyone else. He didn't necessarily realize that he is an a-hole. More like he realized everyone else thought so. It could be either. This was back in my junior year of college. At the beginning of the semester I was introducing myself to my very intimidating biochemistry professor. Guy was a genius, but also a hard ass. Students were all terrified to ask him questions, because he was known for grilling people, and if they hadn't made enough effort beforehand he'd send them out of his office to learn on their own. As I walked into his office he was sorting through some boxes and made a really sarcastic comment regarding stuffing me in the box and shipping it off somewhere. He looked up for my response and I just blurted out without thinking I wouldn't mind going somewhere nice. Dude laughed so hard it actually startled me a little. We got along pretty well for the remainder of the semester, so it all worked out really well. It's amazing what a little laughter can do to ease tension. He needed that. In another universe, I wouldn't mind going somewhere nice. What the frick, you said? Nothing. Bye sir. Another universe. I wouldn't mind going somewhere nice. How about a hotel? And that's how I passed that class. Biochemistry will do that to you. About 25 years ago, I was in grade 9 and my parents bought me a pair of Air Maximum. I'm a female, but I had picked a pair of Air Max that were supposed to be for males, because I preferred the color of the shoes. I was super pumped to get those shoes. We didn't have lots of money and it was a pretty extravagant purchase. Anyway, I was at our local shopping center and I ran into a group of guys I went to high school with. They were a real bunch of assholes that thrived on dumping on other people. One of the guys had on the same pair of shoes and said to me, "Do you know you're wearing men's shoes?" To which I quickly replied, "Then why the frick are you wearing them?" The other guys pissed themselves laughing and it still stands out in my mind after all these years. Man, that was ice cold. I bet his friends still bring that one up. If I was best man at the guy's wedding I'd probably even sneak a reference into the speech. Oh, this reminds me of mine, actually also female, in grade 9. I was using a men's deodorant in the change room and someone asked me why, and the whole room was silent, but for background changing noises. And because I like the smell and for whatever reason I got most of my class agreeing with me. It doesn't translate as well written, but it made me feel cool at the time. I was given a curveball question and managed to stand my ground and get backed up when I didn't expect it. I was the lawyer in this criminal case arising out the Standing Rock events. That morning, some Lakota people had given us this traditional blessing to wish us well for the trial, and there were 5 to 7 activists sitting in the courtroom to watch and support us. It happened that there was a certain digital document that I needed before the jury got back from a break, and we didn't know just when the break would be over. I remember turning to the supporters holding up a thumb drive and telling them exactly what I needed from the office across the street and how to get it. I held out the thumb drive, and with all the intensity of an ancient general sending his troops into battle said, "Fastest runner, go now." This tiny little young woman grabbed the thumb drive and hauled ass. She got back before the jury returned. Good for you. How'd the trial go? After the jury walked him, they gave him a piece of their pizza. Explain. The jury deliberated 3 hours on 2 felony counts, both of which involved allegations of violence against police officers. Pizza was delivered to the jury for lunch. They delivered their verdict of acquittal. None of them wanted to talk to me, but some of them gave my client a piece of pizza. I told him that piece of pizza is called the apology of the court. Then I walked outside in the hallway, high on victory, in front of everybody, and announced, if anyone was under the impression that they are invincible, take note. One of the jurors was just walking out and cracked up at that. Congrats, you've made it to the end. You're a beast. Like and subscribe for more r/AskReddit content. It's free, so why not just do it?